Okay, so today's going to be kind of similar to last class if you were able to come. So rail fence is next week. That's going to be like our content. And then today, uh, it's more of like a holistic review. So in the beginning, we have like a couple aristocrats, and then we basically have questions of every type in this test. Some of them we aren't going to do just because I generated like a test that's meant for Division C. So like some of them, obviously you won't have to learn for Division B, so we won't do them. But and we're not gonna get through like all 18 questions either. But it has a good mix of stuff for review. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. And the test starts in 30 seconds. So yeah, we're just gonna hang out for like 20 more seconds and then we can get started. Okay. Yeah, like always, just feel free to use the chat. I guess I'll start off by giving a couple hints. Let's see. Okay, well, there's this XWL word that happens 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Yeah, I think it's that too. Whenever you see a 3-letter word that just happens a bunch, it's probably the. Oops. Can we see what this word is? If you get the word that I'm highlighting here, it might be easier to get this word. Or we can look at NXD because it does look kind of weird that T is in the middle of a 3-letter word, right? But there is one specific word in English that does have T in the middle of a 3-letter word. Yeah, I actually think it's pretty much only one. Oh, yeah, I guess there's a couple, like 8. But I'm thinking like some words are very specific, right? Like you can only use 8 in the context of like food or something. But this word that I have in my head, it's very general. You can use it in any type of sentence. Here. Maybe it's easier if we look at this word because these two words in a row, it's a phrase that you will definitely recognize. Yeah, yeah. That's what I was going for. What I meant by general was just like it's can be used in any kind of sentence, right? It doesn't matter like what the topic of the sentence is. Okay. Yeah, 20th. Yeah, sorry I didn't see that earlier. That's what I was going for. So if this says the 20th, what do we think this word is? Yeah, century. That's what I was going for. And we can also kind of just get this word too because yeah, so it's either has or was, right? But we can rule out one of them because we already used a letter. So what letter have we already used? Yeah, it's was because we already used H. All right, any ideas on what U is? Oh, why am I doing? I'm filling it out wrong. Okay, there we go. Yeah, how I'd proceed right now is you can either get this word or, yeah, I think UQ is of, because then that makes this last word end in shun, and a lot of words end in shun, so that's pretty good. Yeah, it's and. Okay, you don't see this word a lot, but you can see how there's only technically one letter missing in this word because we just have EE and then E. So, oh, never mind. We already got the E's. I was about to tell you guys to guess, but we already got that E as R. Oh yeah, since we already used T. I will say that Z, or okay, I kind of just spoiled it. I is not super common. I'll just put it in since I said it accidentally. So the horror of the 20th century was the size of, these words should be, uh, I'll phrase it like this. Yeah, there's pretty much only one word they could be. So each and then that word. New. Yeah, nice. Event. Yeah, so that helps us out with this word. So what could reverb something ation be? Reverb blank oration. Oh, okay, this word is weird. I don't exactly know what it means, but I'm just gonna fill this in. I think it's like faucety. Yeah, it's reverberation. But you can keep in mind that you can actually get two letters wrong and still like solve the time question. So we got that. Let's see, how many aristocrats are there? Okay, there's only two more, so we can just finish out the aristocrats. Ooh, okay. So do we think X is I or A? And you can look at this word if you're unsure if X is I or A. It's probably a little weird that I'm highlighting a word that doesn't have X in it. But the reason I'm highlighting this word for you to check if X is I or A is because it lets you do process of elimination. Because if you see the word pattern, yeah, it's that. So if we already used A here, then X has to be I. Okay, so if we got this one, what do we think this word is? Or at least what is the letter R? FYR, yeah. So R is E. Because this word could be these or there, right? Both of them are possible. Do we see this word? Yeah, within. Nice. So it's within something. So if we know that this two-letter word ends in E, what is it within? It's within blank. Yeah, me. There was, yeah, probably. Oh yeah, M was A too, so it had to be. And yeah, that's a good way to look at it since the next word starts with I. Okay, so we already used S, so we can tell that this word is there now instead of these because we just eliminated the possibility of these. So what's this last word? Summer, yeah. XP is in. Yep. Oh yeah, that's definitely winter since we have summer in the rest of the quote. And I'm pretty sure I just forgot to fill in those letters. Okay, can we see either of these two words? Maybe it's easier to see the word on the left. Or you could be looking at the second to last word in this quote. What should like tip you off about this word is that you have these double G's and then the last letter. And like, if you don't see exactly what the word is, you can also just do like once again, some process of elimination. You have that M is already A, right? And you can't have A and then a double vowel because you gotta have 3 vowels in a row. And like that just doesn't happen, right? So you know that G has to be some kind of consonant. And what consonant do you know that doubles up at the ends of words? Or like right before the ends of words, because W is the last letter in this word. Yeah, it is LLY. So it's finally, yeah. Yep, learned. Oops. So that should tell us what A is. Maybe even K. Oh yeah, it does look like death, but check to see if we didn't double up any letters. Yeah, it's the other depth, PTH, yeah. Okay, so A is O because it has to be of, because it can't be if. So we have these 3 single letters, I think. Just, I'd recommend just like looking at the word as a whole. Do we see any possible words? You can just yell stuff out like, well, obviously I'm not going to say the word since I know what it is, but invincible, yeah. All right, there we go. And this is our last aristocrat on this one. Yeah, I think we can start similarly. Do we think that L is A or I? It's okay if you guess wrong too, since I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I'm leaning towards A just because you can also look at its placement in like 4-letter words, but usually you wouldn't see I starting a 4-letter word or I being at the third position, unless the word was like this. Was or has. Honestly, I'm not sure, because what throws us off is this ellipsis, right? So I'm not sure how the flow of the sentence would work there. It also could be like can or something, right? I think we might have to look at some frequencies, but there isn't that much to do. So one thing we can look at is like the 2-letter words in the quote, but there's only GP, GP, and SA. So that doesn't tell us that much. Oh, okay, never mind. I see something. How do I articulate this? All right, I'll go off an explanation based on frequencies. We already used L as A, right? And if we're thinking about the most common letters, it's like ETA, ION, so like Italian Shirtaloo. So we have G at 9 being the second most common here. We're thinking it's either E or T, probably, right? Barring some unlikely event, it's probably E or T. So then we look at the different G's in the quotes. And yeah, I think it's T. Can somebody just like explain quickly what you see that makes it impossible for G to be E? Like a specific instance. Yeah, GP, because E can't come at the beginning of 2-letter words in English. So if we're assuming that G is T, what does P have to be? Yeah, nice. Shun, yeah. That's what I saw originally, that like we were sitting there for a while not knowing what to do, right? But then I saw that GP is like if GP was TO, then we'd have T blank O blank, and then I realized the words could be TION at the end. Okay, if we have IN, what's the last letter of that word probably? G, yeah. Ooh, okay. This word might be a little hard to see, but I mean, it confirms that we're doing the right thing, because you might be able to see what this word is, but it's probably easier to see what this word is. So what do we think it is? What? Yeah. That can also help out getting this word. Oh, and it looks like you were right. Yeah, it was. So nice. I just wasn't sure because like this dot 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 thing threw me off. Yeah, so it's worth. What could this last word be? Oh, yeah, I didn't fill that in. My bad. Or fast? It might be like vast or something. So I'm not completely sure about fast, but if we get this word, or at least what H is, I think we can just get the beginning and then get everything else. Like basically we're waiting on what H is. Or you can look here because there's a 4-letter word that starts with A that often comes before two, like something two. It's a phrase. I mean, really, there's many ways you can go, but I honestly think getting this word, this 4-letter A word, this last word, or this word that I don't know, we should probably be able to get by now because there's only 2 letters missing. I think one of those is probably how you would proceed. Well, first, since it seems like we're a little stuck, I'll ask this. Does H have to be a consonant or a vowel? If you're not, yeah, vowel. That's what I was going for. So let's look at what vowels we've used. A, yeah, okay, yeah. That's basically what I was going for, Julie. So we used A, O, I. So we have U and E left. U is obviously not going to work here, right? Like I'm just going to put it in for visualizing it. That looks just very wrong. So if we put an E, maybe that word becomes a little clearer. It's reading, yeah. And the reason it's reading is because if you look here, so if this is D, what does the first word look like if this is reading? Education, yeah. So the first and the last word are somewhat related. So it helps you like confirm your guess. Produced, yeah. So that should help us get this word. Yeah, population. And you might I don't think it's fast, right? Because fast doesn't really describe population. Yeah, I think it's vast. So that's why you usually hold off on making those guesses until the end. But we have that D is L now. Unable, yeah. So, but what I was going for earlier with that phrase thing is I was going to say able to is like a common phrase. All right, so that's our last patristocrat. The first word is G. Okay, that's interesting. So I think it's like G as in like, like stuff people say like G, like gee, I'm so embarrassed or something, which if we did not have a hint, I think this might have been like impossible to solve because G just like doesn't happen. But thankfully we have that hint. So in case you didn't notice the groups of 5, this is a patristocrat. So just refresh your brain for a moment and remember that the spaces can be deceiving in patristocrats. You can't trust the spaces. Okay, so we filled in everything we've been hinted. Where should we look? So it looks like U, B, and F are the remaining common letters. Okay, so like what we did before was we looked for the, right? We were trying to look for the. I don't see a clear cut candidate for the here because we have so many different possible 3-letter chunks with E at the end. So maybe we'll have to go over something else. I guess we can, is WH. What would BXB be? Honestly, I think XB might be. Oh wait, why are you saying never mind, Sierra? Is there something that looks weird? Also, I'm not trying to like do trick questions or anything. I don't know what the quote is beforehand. I'm just like trying to see. And about BXB at the end, I think it's not necessarily one word. I think it might be XB. So like, what's a 2-letter word that can end sentences? Oh, Ethan, I meant a 2-letter word, not like a 2-letter part of a word. Like a word on its own. It. Yeah, that's what I was going for. Like, I'm not completely sure that this is it, obviously, but I think we might have to resort to some guesswork. BWC. Yeah, it does kind of seem like it, but it's hard to guess, right? Like, do we see BW anywhere else? Just BW, the 2 letters in a row. We see WB, so HT. I think we can go ahead with B as T though, even if we don't exactly know which one is the, because we have BWC here, we have BSC here, we have BEC here. But I think we can say that B is T. Okay, so what do we see here? Hold on. Let's see. Oh, okay. I see. So this was a bad assumption on my part. It doesn't necessarily have to be T. But what we should do is we should use what we're given. So E is kind of hard to use because it appears in so many different kinds of words. But we have this G here. What usually comes before a G? It doesn't have to be a single letter or anything. It could be multiple letters. Yeah, IN. So if we say that FW is IN, it should work out because G really doesn't appear in other contexts. Oh, and if a sentence begins with G, actually, I won't start with that. But there's not many I words. So it has to be a variation on one word or a very similar one. Okay, so I'm just going to give kind of an extra hint. What if I tell you that this is one word? This N something 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 ing. Does that, okay, yeah, you got it right away. I think it's nothing. And it's really hard to see word patterns in patristocrats because they're like stretched across multiple words. But sometimes you do have to just make like a wild guess like ing and then go from there. So B is O actually. And then we have nothing to, what do we think the last word is? Nothing to do, yeah. Oops. Okay, so we have ITH. What do we think P is? With, yeah. That's what I would think too. I can't have filled everything in, right? I must have missed something. Yep. Okay, so here, this word is probably 2, just because DT wouldn't appear in a single word. So it's probably like crossing the border between letters. Okay, so this is what I was going to say before. It's a little bit tricky, but if you say G at the beginning of the sentence, G, you have to have a subject after the comma. And we have IT, right? So you could say like G, it something, or it could be G, it's something, like it is. Like it depends on what your verb is. So we just have to keep an eye out for whether V is S or not. But in the meantime, I think we can look at what G is. The letter G, not the phrase G. So it's surrounded, or like it surrounds a W here. Can it be? Oh, so the thing about patristocrats is that they don't put any punctuation at all. And it's kind of weird to think of apostrophes as punctuation, right? Because we just think of it as like part of the word, but technically like anything that's not a letter is punctuation. So there's no commas, no apostrophes, no semicolons, no dashes, no periods in patristocrats. So like say it's S, that doesn't necessarily mean it's to possessive ITS. It could also be IT apostrophe S. Oh, okay. Back to G though. Do we think it's a vowel or a consonant based on the fact that it's surrounding this W? Yeah. So what vowel do we think it could be? This is kind of like last time where we pretty much only have one choice. A, yeah, since uwu probably doesn't happen in a quote. Awake, yeah, that's a pretty good guess. It's either awake or aware, but based on the fact that there's only 2 E's, I think awake is a good way. Yeah, so if it's awake, that means that's a word on itself, and then we have this 4-letter word that starts with K. So what do we think that is? Keep, yeah, keep awake. And if I say this word ends here, what is H? Something to keep awake with nothing to do. And it might be a little weird wording, but keep awake basically means like stay awake. Any guesses for H? Hard, yeah. Okay, so you have this phrase, hard to keep awake with nothing to do. What do we think the word before hard is? Blank, hard to keep awake. Blank, hard to stay awake. Yeah, its. That's what I think it is. So let's say that this is its. So that means V is S actually at the beginning. Oops, I just filled a bunch of stuff in wrong. Okay, can we section anything off? Like, can we be sure that anything is a word by itself? Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to just say that this is the. I think it's also pretty safe to say that this is in. So we just have this word, own, like blank owns blank E. G, it's lonesome. Yeah, nice. That's what I was going for. Then we have these two missing letters. Technically, we can just leave because you can have two letters wrong and still get full credit. But let's try and get this last word. If you play or watch sports, it might be familiar. You're close. You're close, Julie. That's not technically what it's called, though. It's a baseball term. Outfield, yeah. So G, it's lonesome in the outfield. It's hard to keep awake with nothing to do. All right, nice. Okay, so this is part of like the review. Here, we're doing some review with affine. So we remember that affine, here, I'll connect my pencil. There's my pencil. Affine is y equals ax plus b, right? And we're given a and b, so we know that y is equal to 21x plus 14, but we're decoding. And then this equation is for encoding. So does anybody remember what we do to the equation? What variable should we solve for if we're doing the opposite of encoding? Yeah, we should solve for x. So if we rearrange this, it's going to say like y minus 14 equals 21x. And then this is like kind of the weird part. You have, so y minus 14 times the inverse of 21 is equal to x. So basically what you do from this step to this step is you're dividing by 21, but dividing is the same thing as multiplying by the inverse, right? So if you, I mean, you probably don't have this memorized, but if you remember how we had like that table and we had like the modular inverses listed in columns, so 1 is inverses with 1, because 1 times 1 equals 1, which is equal or congruent to 1 mod 26. 3 is inverses with 9, because 3 times 29 is 27, which is congruent to 1 mod 26. Because if you do 27 minus 26, you get 1. So that's why we say it's congruent to 1 mod 26. 5 is inverses with 21. So we don't need to list out anymore because we just found out what the inverse of 21 is, but I'll just show y again. So 5 times 21 is equal to 105. So if you do 26 times 4, you get 24. And if you subtract 104 from 105, you get 1 mod 26. So that's basically how I do mod math. I memorize a couple like landmark multiples of 26, and then I subtract. So we know that 5 is the inverse of 21 in mod 26, so we can change this step to say 5 times y minus 14 equals x. So y is the ciphertext and x is the plain text. So we can pretty much just start plugging letters in now. So somebody just tell me what the value of A is if you're converting letters to numbers. I'm not talking about like after you put it in the equation. Yeah, 0. So for A, we're going to do 5 times 0 minus 14 equals x. So 5 times negative 14 is negative 70. Negative 70 plus 78, because 78 is a multiple of 26. Negative 70 plus 78 is 8. And what letter does 8 convert back to? I. Yeah, nice. So we can fill in all of these with i's, all of the a's with i's. Actually, there aren't that many. Yeah, that's all of them. Pretty much what I like to do is I like to go left to right in order to like not confuse myself or anything. So if we go with I, we just said that I is 8, so we don't need to cover that again. So this is equal to x. So 8 minus 14 is negative 6. Negative 6 times 5 is negative 30. I know that 52 is a multiple of 26 because 26 times 2 is 52. So if I do negative 30 negative 30 plus 52, I'm left with 22. What letter is 22? Yeah, W. You're fast. Okay, so it starts with W. And here we can just make the, I'll call it an educated guess. Like we really don't have to do all the math, right? We know that if W is in a 2-letter word, oh, the Quizlet, nice. Yeah, we know if W is in a 2-letter word, or a 4-letter word, not a 2-letter word, the second letter is just going to be H. Like we just know that because it's either like when or what, right? So we can fill in all the W's and H's now. Oh, okay. So we can pretty much just get this word if anybody wants to say it in chat because we know it starts with a W. What's a 3-letter word that starts with W? It's not a trick question. I blank. Yeah, that's technically right, but I'm thinking of a general word. Like, remember how we said 8 last time, but it ended up being its? Because I was just looking for a word that could be in any sentence, but like 1 is kind of specific, right? Oh, be careful. Wait has 4 letters. Yeah, was. That's what I was going for. So like you can pretty much solve this as an aristocrat at some points, and you don't have to do the math the whole time. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this quote is about sports too. Oh, okay. I got it. I got it. Okay, what's this word probably? When I was, yeah, it's probably when I was. Okay, so we can also get what K is because we know what happens after IN usually. Or somebody can just finish this word for us. And yeah. Okay, so we have this number, right? And we have something ending in NDS. What do people usually measure? Like there's a number people pay attention to in just their like everyday lives. Like the number that comes after, oh, seconds is a good guess, but it's not the right number of letters for this word because we can see that this is 6 letters. What's something that people just like get up in the morning and measure sometimes? Pounds. Yeah, that's what I was going for. What's K again? We can pretty much just get K. G, yeah, nice. Okay, so this one says when I was something something. We can see that there's this LL at the end, and we know L has to be a consonant. And remember, affines are not exactly like aristocrats, because in aristocrats, letters can't go to themselves, but in affine, they can. That's a slight hint. So this opening phrase, we might be able to just get by reading it to ourselves a couple of times. Or we can get this word, which helps us out a lot. Playing, yeah. And you can see that does look a little weird because Y goes to Y and L goes to L, but because it's affine, it's fine. So that means we have this LL here. Football, yeah. The reason I knew it was about sports early on is because I saw that LL and I saw this WW. And if you see like two double letters in certain places in a word, you can tell that it's football. You can also kind of recognize baseball because the B repeats and you have LL at the end. And same thing with basketball, except they're just different lengths. Okay, what letter is X? Oh, never mind. We already got it. It's actually and they, because we already solved Y, right? So we have SRG missing. Have we used any of those already? Oh, we do have R. So S should be, or like S and G should be pretty straightforward. So when I was playing football, I was getting to the 240 pounds and they wanted to get to 260. Up and me. Yeah, nice. So when I was playing football, I was getting up to 240 pounds and they wanted me to get to 260. All right. Oops, I gotta switch to mouse. This is encode, but we just did affine, so I don't think we need to do that. Let's do visionary. I think Caesar we can all do, since we proved that we're pretty good with letter number conversions while we did the affine. So it says, okay, so this is auto-generated, so sometimes it messes up the number of characters, because technically WHEN space I apostrophe M is 8 characters, but for our purposes, we don't care about like spaces and apostrophes, so it's 6 characters for us. So what this is saying is that it starts with when I'm. So basically, if you remember about visionary, there's this key word that we're interested in. We have the plain text. Let's just call it A. We have the ciphertext, B, and we have the keyword, C. And we know that in order to encode, we do A plus C, and then we take it mod 26. That's what we do to encode. To decode, we do B minus C mod 26. But right now, we don't have C. We just know that the first 6 letters are WHEM or WHENIM. So this is called cryptanalysis, when you don't have the keyword, but you have some hints in the plaintext. The thing is, this is what we usually want to do for decryption, B minus C. So we're saying that B minus C mod 26. I'm not going to write that, but it's understood that it has to be mod 26. B minus C is equal to A. So ciphertext minus keyword is equal to plaintext. But we don't have the keyword. What we have is all of the ciphertext and the sum of the plaintext. We have 6 plaintext letters. So rearrange this equation in order to solve for the keyword, because that's what we're trying to get. So you can say that B minus A is equal to C, right? So here, for the 6 letters that were given as a hint, we're going to do ciphertext minus plaintext. So, okay, what is W minus, or my bad, don't do what I just did. Ciphertext minus plaintext. So this row minus this row. So what is Y minus W in numbers? Or you can just convert it back to letters and tell me. C, yeah, because 24 minus 22 is 2, and then 2 is C. So, oh, geez, time is up. I guess I set it to 50 minutes on accident. I'll extend the time. All right. Where's Visionary? Here we go. All right. Yeah, so you can do that for the rest. I'll just do it since I trust that you guys know how to do this. And then we can figure out the keyword together. So V is 21, H is 7, so we get 14. R is 17, E is 3, or E is 4, so we get 13. P is 15, N is 13, so we get 2. M is 12, I is 8, so we get 4. D is 3, M is 12. So we get -9. -9 plus 26 is 17. So we get R. So now we have to figure out what the rest is, because basically how this auto-generated test works, it just splits into however many letters the keyword is. So it's basically implying to us that the keyword is 8 letters long, and we have 6 of the 8 letters of the keyword already. So what could the remaining 2 letters possibly be? Or actually, here, we know that this is here. So we could potentially just solve the rest of this and then guess. Actually, yeah, I think that's what we'll do. And visionary cryptanalysis is not always this easy. They don't always group it into however many letters long the keyword is. Okay, so here, you can do this yourself. What 3 letters does the plaintext end in? And reminder that B minus C equals A. Ciphertext minus keyword equals plaintext. So pay attention to what you're subtracting from what. Okay, so just as a reminder, we're solving for these 3 letters. There is not a D in there. What do you mean U is S, Aryan? Are you talking about up here? Oh yeah, I think you are. U is S up here, yeah. You were really close with a D, Julie. I'm assuming you were talking about this. So G is 6 and C is 2. So think about what you're subtracting from what, and either do 6 minus 2 or 2 minus 6, and then figure out which one is right, and then say the letter. Yeah, E. I guess I'll just do the rest since Just make sure, even though the keyword is above the ciphertext in this setting, you are doing ciphertext minus keyword. So it's G minus C, so it's 6 minus 2, so it's 4. So if you do the similar thing, you have 1 minus 14. So you have negative 13 plus 26 is equal to 13. So you have n. Here you have 6 minus 13, which is negative 7, which is equal to 19 by 26. So it ends in ENT. I'll just check this. 17 minus 22. Hold on. Oh no, I'm reading my writing completely wrong. This is an N, not a W. So 17 minus 13 is E. Yeah, nice. Okay, 16 minus 2 is 14. 1 minus 14 is negative 13. 10 minus 2 is 8. 6 minus 4 is C. Third group, first R is E. Oh yeah, nice. And sometimes you do get the same patterns. Like this is R minus N and this is also R minus N. So you technically don't even need to do the math twice if you can just see that there's a pattern. Okay, so this is just the same letter, so it's A, because this something minus itself is always 0. Also in the first group. Oh yeah, it is here too. Okay, let's just see if there are any others. It doesn't look like it. Okay. Oops, that's wrong. 23 minus 17 is equal to 6. Okay, so this is probably just width. Yeah, so right now I'm just doing the math for you guys since I trust that we know how to do it. Okay, so we have a bunch of broken text. So we have when I'm something one I call. It's looking a bit weird. PCR does look a bit weird, so I'm going to check my work. Okay. My work is right. Ways I with VOA. Yeah, it does seem like CR is the beginning of a new word. LEEP in itself is like kind of weird though. Oh, okay, okay. This is one word from here to the end. So what do we know that NE has to go to? So we're thinking ARG blank blank ENT. What could this word be? Any guessers? What if I say that this is a U? Argument, yeah. Okay, so from here, we can figure out the rest of the keyword. So remember that B minus A is also equal to C. So ciphertext minus plaintext. Is the thing on top maybe crossways? I guess we'll find out. Yeah. So 13 minus 20 is -7, which is 19. 4 minus 12 is -8, which is S. So the key ended up being concerts. So using that information, we can do the rest. When I'm 3 minus 18 is -15, which is 11. So it says when I'm alone, and it's probably when I'm alone, I. So 6 minus 19 is -13. 10 minus 18 is -8, which is just 18 again. I can, oh, okay. When I'm alone, I can sleep. 7 minus 19 is -12. 10 minus, okay. Yeah, it is crossways, which is kind of a weird way to say how you can sleep. 6 minus 19 is -13. Crossways in bed with, oh, yeah, it's without. Nice catch. When I'm alone, I can sleep crossways in bed without an argument. Not sure exactly what that means, but we got it. All right, so this is the end of this week. Next week, I actually will have Railfence ready for you guys. Yeah, so it'll be a little bit different next week. We might actually do the same format and just figuring out how to do Railfence by like actually doing it instead of doing a PowerPoint, but not completely sure yet. But for now, see you guys next week.